Hello, welcome to another one of our conversation series videos. Hope you've enjoyed the last few. But this time we've got a bunch of amazing guys from Broughty Ferry, and let's introduce them. We've got Gary Torbett. Gary, wait till I spotlight you so everyone can see your beautiful face. There we are. Do you want to introduce yourself, Gary? Let's unmute you. And then tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, hello, afternoon. My name's Gary Torbett, and I'm the youth pastor at the Broughty Ferry Baptist Church, just on the other side of Dundee. Lovely part of the country. Good.
Wonderful. To be here. It is quite sunny up in Broughty, isn't it, generally? And then we have Netanya. I just need to unmute you. Sweet. Oh no, I just muted you. Go.
Okay. Hello, I'm Netanya, and I'm one of the young leaders at Broughty Ferry Baptist. Nice to see you all.
Sweet. Amazing. And then we've got Fergus here.
Yeah, I'm Fergus, and I'm also a young leader at Broughty Ferry Baptist Church.
Wonderful. And then last but not least, if I can unmute you. Yeah, sweet. No, I'll just mute you again.
Hi, I'm Aidan, and I'm also a young leader at Broughty Ferry Baptist.
Wonderful, wonderful. And now I will unspotlight you. Cancel spotlight video. Here we go. Right. So it's good to have you guys. So sorry for being a technological dinosaur. I'm absolutely awful, horrendous. I only learned how to crop a photo 6 months ago, so you need to bear with. Sweet. So Fergus, Netanya, Aidan, you guys are presuming you're at school. So do you want to tell us what stage you're at, what's happening next? Netanya, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so basically me and Aidan have just left school, so we don't have much to do at the moment. But I'm pretty much sorted university-wise. I'm going to St Andrew to study medicine. So they've updated me on what's been going on, but I think Aidan's experience has been quite different from mine.
Yeah, but that's, by the way, that's actually brilliant. I've said this to you before, but I genuinely am blown away by anyone who does medicine because it takes like triple the amount of A's I got at school to get in, and on top of that, St Andrews.
Yeah, I was really excited about that because St Andrews is a beautiful wee town, and I've always loved going there. So
yeah, it's gorgeous, and it's near home as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, planning on commuting, so we'll see.
Cool. Oh, cool. That'd be nice. Sweet. Aidan, what about you? What's going
on? Yeah, like Netanya said, I've just left high school and missed all the end, like final fling and all that, which is a shame. Would have enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm going to university next year. I'm planning to get an apprenticeship for January, and so right now I don't really have anything to do. I'm just kind of waiting around.
Yeah, which is quite frustrating, just being in limbo, especially when it's something like joinery and it's like an apprenticeship that you can't really do too much head starty things on. That's quite difficult. So Fergus, what about you? Where are you at with school?
Yeah, so I'm in 5th year, so I'm not going to be doing my exams, which are the important ones to get into uni. But luckily, not unluckily, I did well in my prelims, so yeah.
Sweet. Which is actually a really wise thing to do, because seriously, if I was your age, I would be in a terrible position. I only ever passed 3 prelims, ever. I never took them seriously. So you're very wise, Fergus. Wise young man. Right, Gary, tell us, I'm not making a comment about your age, but I'm assuming you're not at school anymore. And so do you want to tell us how things have been in terms of leading the youth work and stuff at Broughty as we're going into lockdown?
Yeah, I think that we'll also, it's been tough in many ways for so many people. Obviously, just generally in terms of social distancing, lockdown, and we've had to right from the start realised that the most important thing was we had to keep our young people connected, and to obviously offer them opportunities to connect, and obviously support them as well, to feel that they're being listened to, and particularly obviously in society, the planet on the whole, but even within our young people there's lots of questions, doubts, struggles, so it's to give them a safe space to do that. So from the start we was familiar with the Zoom platform, and from that we started to invite them. We made up something called Ignite Live, which is basically our response to that. So we meet a couple of times on a Sunday morning and evening, and then we've got different discipleship streams, some jigsaw on a Tuesday night for the younger ones, and deeper we're meeting twice, and deeper the older discipleship stream twice a week. We've got a student group started as well on Tuesday nights. It's two, and then we meet with Broughty Baptist Live. The whole church meets on Zoom on Sunday morning. So but in terms of youth ministry on the whole, Sam, it's not massively different. We're still we're still doing this. We're still reaching out to the young people, trying to model faith to them, point them to Jesus. So doing a lot of similar things, but obviously it's all online. It's all virtual. It's all on Zoom. So that's something that it's something that we have to get used to. Talking over each other or interrupting each other. But the young people, actually, they've been better than the congregation as a whole, because when we ask them to go on mute and stay on mute, they do it. I think there was a service a couple of weeks ago. I had to mute a woman, quite a few times, because she thought that the little slash across the thing meant she was unmuted. So it's the young people have been fantastic, really got it, and the enthusiasm in terms of joining in and wanting to come to stuff has been really encouraging.
Well, that's brilliant. To be honest, you do look pretty regimented with the mute button, which is brilliant. That's phenomenal. So you've got them well trained, Gary. But the dynamic is it's a weird one, isn't it? It's hard to kind of navigate that, and I think I've certainly found that it's like we were saying earlier about how it's kind of harder to move past the shallow level of chat and kind of move beyond that, and then at the same time, if you were in a room chatting in a group, people will be able to jump in and be a bit of back and forth, but it's hard to do that on Zoom.
I think we've got the mixture pretty good. We had some good feedback from the young people last night. That the most important, one of the challenges has been how do you play Mafia on Zoom? It's like how do you do that? So
I can maybe help you with that.
That took a little while, but we've done Mafia, Empire, and Viz. So social interaction is really important. My daughter Bethany, who helps out with the jigsaw group, she's been using Kahoot a lot. But it's a mixture of that. But also in the deeper discipleship stream, the young people came to me and said, "Look, we're really struggling with this. Can you do a series?" So we did a 4-week series on where is God when it hurts. So it's a mixture of like in a normal youth environment, it's a mixture of making sure that you're having lots of fun and connecting with each other, talking to young people about what's the worst thing you've eaten in the past week, and then we're talking about how to be online with Jesus. So I think it's getting that mix right in all of that as well.
Yeah, it is indeed. What is the worst thing you've eaten actually in the past week? That's actually a really good question. I really want to know. Gary, what's the worst thing you've eaten in the past week?
I do all the cooking at home. So it's a bit difficult for me to say if I hated something I didn't eat. Can't remember.
Aidan, what was the worst thing you've eaten in the past week?
By far, it was my sister made a bran flakes. She made like a cake, like a loaf out of it, and it is horrible. It's really not good.
A loaf out of bran flakes?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
No. It
was a loaf out of all bran, and to be fair, you can actually make it taste nice.
Yeah, well, my sister failed in that regard. So
Aidan, then how have you then felt as a young person, adapting to everything being digital, and then just not seeing your pals as often, and not your freedom and your freedom of choice being limited to what room you sit in your house?
Well, I would agree with Gary. I think church in that is an integral part to all of our lives, and we're all growing in our faith, as are the younger ones in the group. And you know, the social interaction is what I'd say is the hardest thing. Not being able to have like, I find it difficult to have a relationship with someone just by talking to them, or like not in real life, if you get me. But yeah, we meet so much, and I never could have expected. I didn't even know Zoom was a thing until Gary organised it one night, and I was like, this is amazing, because this means, you know, we've got like over 20 young people, and it means we can all stay connected. And you know, I think we've all learned so much in the past few years, and we still have questions about new things and old things as well. And so still being able to learn is fantastic, and I'm really appreciative of everything that Gary does and what we all help out. And yeah, so also getting hands-on experience of leading, because we're doing the young leaders course, and we've kind of been delayed with it, and you know, it seems to keep getting pushed back, and so this is our experience at the moment. And I think it's just taking the most of it, using the time to our advantage, and just spending time with God at this time.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty encouraging and pretty balanced, to be fair, Aidan. Like, it's pretty cool. But Natanya, what's your experience of lockdown been so far then? How have you coped?
It's been hard not seeing different people, like my family and my friends. So it's been like, I've been trying to find a balance of like video chatting different people, and also sort of taking time to sort of reflect and spend time with God. I think one thing that God's kind of been sort of teaching me this lockdown is the patience. So sort of, and improving relationships with those around me, closest to me in the house, which is really, like, you think you'd be really close with the people you live with, because you know you live with each other, but like how much of the day are you actually at home? Like, because I go to school, my dad goes to work, my sisters go to school, and mum's the only one in the house. So it's sort of like catching up with each other and sort of bonding with each other, really. So which is really good.
Yeah, it is funny though, isn't it? Like, so I live with my little sister and my mum as well, so like I understand where you're coming from, and you're like, oh, like you live with them, so you're like, how much more can we bond? And then you do realise, one, how different sometimes you are from each other, and then the sparks that fly from that. But then also just like having the time just to kind of sit, watch movies, or like sit and talk in a way that you probably wouldn't have had before, because I don't know about you guys, but like most of our lives are quite like busy, like hurried, and you're just getting from next thing to next. And I imagine you probably were the same, like wake up, breakfast, get to school, come home, work, dinner, like, whereas it's so much slower now, and I think slow pace kind of really helps relationships form as well. Fergus, what about you? What's been going on in lockdown? How have you been feeling and reacting and coping?
Yeah, so lockdown's quite boring, but I was lucky. I usually go to the gym before school. I used to go with Aidan as well.
Wow.
But then all of the gyms closed. But because I work with my dad, I'd saved up money, so I was able to buy like quite a big like gym stuff. Wow. And then, but I've also got a little sister, so she always wants to play with me because she's quite bored not having like any of her mates around. You know what they're like in primary school. So she wants to play with me 24/7. So yeah, I just always have her at my ankles. Yeah.
Well, at least that keeps you out of mischief. By the way, well done on even getting to the gym, and never mind the gym before school. How do you two do that? I can hardly get myself to the gym in 25 years of living. Never mind being like, oh, let's go to the gym.
I don't know how you guys wake up at like 6, don't you? Like to get up to the gym or something like that. I remember one of you saying.
So, well, we sort of push each other to go do it. Yeah.
Mad. That's actually mad. That's totally mad. So, like, this is a random question, right? But it's kind of like become the lockdown question. Is it, apart from the bran flake horrendousness, What has anyone been baking anything, or taking up baking, or taking up bread making, pizza making? Gary, do you do any baking? If you do all the cooking?
I do all the cooking, but no, it's actually one of the. I do a lot of the cooking anyway, but it's certainly in our youth group. There's been one of the young guys. I won't mention his name, but there's a young guy that comes on every week, and we say, "Well, what have you done this week?" And it's incredible. He's making like his favourite is chocolate brownies, because he makes them every couple of weeks. He I've made chocolate brownies this week, but actually he started to make bread now as well. So he's actually making his own bread. And last night I think he talked about the brownies and said, "Oh no, when we managed to sort of heat up the chocolate brownie, it started to, when we heated it up for 30 seconds, it looked a bit like marble." He said, "This guy's only 12. He sounds like a chef already." So
he's only 12.
Yeah, he's only 12, and he's 12 or 13, but he's doing a lot of baking. And we're going to have before lockdown finishes, we're going to have an Ignite Live bake-off.
Yes.
So we've got to. They keep asking me, "Why are we going to do this bake-off?" So we're still
you
going to
need to record that. That'll be hilarious.
It's on my list. It's on my list. Yeah.
Excellent. Can you give him my address so you can send some of those brownies and bread down? That'd be great. I love it. I actually got a bakery delivery from a friend. He's a professional baker, just like earlier. Cakes have been getting me through, lads. They've been getting me through. So I'll take some Dundonian brownies. Thank you very much. So, Natanya, you hit on this earlier when you said that you felt like God was teaching you, or like talking to you around patience. Do any of you guys want to just speak a bit about where you feel like is God like putting his finger on a specific aspect of like your character, or like you guys are all doing kind of quite intentional leadership development stuff at the moment. So like, where do you feel like God's maybe speaking to you, and what might he be saying? And Gary, that's the question for you as well. Who wants to go first?
I'll let the young people go first and see what they're saying.
Model you right there.
Yeah, okay, I'll go first then.
Come on in.
Yeah, so I think we've got a lot more time now. So I think one thing God's been saying is like improve the relationships with the people that you live with, but also spend time to get closer to God. So me and my brother earlier this week said that we'd get up at 7 o'clock and then just do like half an hour, just like study and stuff. Because
Wow.
if you do it alone, you're not going to want to do it. But
yeah. If you've got someone else there, if you're like nudging you out of bed, it is easier. How have you guys been finding that then? Like, have you started doing that?
No, we've not actually started yet, because I had breakthrough last night, and then I got to bed like pretty late, and it was his birthday today.
Oh,
so
right.
I didn't want to wake him up at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Let the boy have a lie in on his birthday.
Okay, I'll let you off then. I'll let you off. Just once.
No church discipline for you, Felix. That's great. Brilliant. That's really cool though that you guys are doing that as brothers. That's actually really sweet. You guys are like trying to help each other out in that way.
Yeah.
I suppose it's almost like the spiritual version of you needing going to the gym.
Yeah, well, me and my brother are quite close, and we have been since like we were quite young. We were brought up almost like twins, and everyone would ask, "Oh, are you guys twins?" and stuff like that. So we've always been close. But then he went off to France last year for BMS in the action team. So yeah.
Wow.
So we were missing each other quite a lot.
Yeah, you would too. That's pretty cool. We went to France. Aidan, what about you? What's God been saying, highlighting, bringing up?
I would say the main thing is challenging me, like where I use my time, because I think like you were saying earlier how like we rush a lot of things in a day, and I think a lot of the time, I would assume other people feel this as well, but you'd come back from school or something, and it'd be like you maybe have your devotion book, and you'd be like, oh, I'm too tired to do it. Oh, I don't want to do this or whatever. But it's like this time's really challenged you to be like, well, you've got the time to do that. You have all day. Learning new skills and building relationships with family is incredibly important. And speaking to those that you maybe wouldn't have spoken to otherwise. Like I've had a few people who I've spoken to who I just haven't spoken to in like years, which I just think is like a strange thing. But I think I've been definitely challenged to, use this time to speak to them and, speak to them about where they're at and,
that's brilliant.
Build relation.
Yeah, that's really cool actually. I think a lot of people are saying that about relationships with people that they haven't seen or spoken to in a while, that they're finding that they're just like reaching out to them again, which I think is actually quite beautiful, that reconnection thing. Gary, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's interesting we're talking there about family, and although we live with our families, how well do we really know them? And we don't really realise that we could know them a lot more until this happens. And I think that I feel that kind of what God's been saying to me quite a lot, not over the last few months, and we've talked about it quite a lot in youth ministry networks and things about God calling us back to Himself. And I think at the moment we've had a lot of time to reflect, and I think that what I feel God's saying to me, what I think we're realising, what I'm realising, is that we don't really properly seek God enough ourselves. If we're honest, there's need for it's a time, I think, also there's a lot of stuff going about repentance. This one, it's maybe we don't use enough in church, and I think that it's something that is very much saying to me is getting into that discipline of spending time every day with God and trying to listen to Him and hear Him. And I was doing some everyday supernatural with the deeper group last week, and the same kind of thing. Can we hear from God first for ourselves before we start sharing with other people? So I think it's that deepening, as we talked about families, deepening relationships. I think it's about God is calling us, into a deeper encounter with Him as well. And that's it's because people say, well, when we go back to normal, I think that's the whole discussion. Do we really want to go back to that? And I say, and I think the things that God's saying to us now, I think it's about taking that with us. When we get back into doing things in churches, how can we sort of tweak and change that to make it more authentic of a real, 2 Chronicles, 7, where it's about if you will, come to me, seek my face, and fall before me, I will hear your prayer. And I think there's a lot of that in what God's saying.
Yeah, no, totally. And actually, Gary, you've picked up on something which would be really good to finish on. Actually, where you said about when people are like, oh, well, when we get back to normal, and it's like, do we actually want to get back to normal? And I think that's maybe a question I want to ask us is, what one thing would we want this time to change the culture of the church? Or what one thing in the church would we want to see changed because of this time of lockdown? It's a pretty big question, right? But Natanya, I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you want to start us off? What one thing would you like to see changed, or one thing that maybe one new thing come out of this time within like the church? Obviously, when I say the church, I just mean people of God beyond Broughty Ferry. I
think well, it sort of causes us to think a bit more about like who we have around us, because you don't know how many like people how many people you interact with every day until that's taken away from you. And I think it's also like giving us time to reflect, are we really spending the time we have with each other to the best of our ability? Because it's so uncertain now. You don't know what's going on. There's so many people that have passed away. You don't know, like one day you're here, next day you're gone. Like, I think a real drive to sort of live life to the fullest and to make full use of the relationships we have around us, to show people we care, show people we love them, and that God loves them by extension. So so a real like a more of like a urgency in a way to like get to know people, to be with people, and not just coop up and be your own people. Yeah. Because what I'm hearing you saying is about value, is actually valuing the people that are around you. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like my mum is in her late 50s, and she said, this is the first time in my lifetime
I remember anyone putting people before profit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I think Gary, you probably are agreeing, like, and it is incredible, like, that actually we're starting to realise, because, I mean, death is all around. I mean, the amount of times we hear how many people have died because of corona on a daily basis. And so I kind of press on like what you're saying, Nathaniel. I think it really does press home of actually, like, we do, going back to, I think what you said, Aidan, like, we've got a lot of time, 24 hours. We, like, only a few weeks ago, we'd be like, give us more time, and they were like, actually, this is a lot of time in the day. Like, I can actually do a lot with this. And actually, I can value this a lot better and value others a lot better. I think that's a really important part, Tanya. Thanks for highlighting that. Fergus, Aidan, Gary, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would say something we learned in Deeper not too long ago was we've been talking about asking for like supernatural gifts from God and the Holy Spirit. And I think looking back on it, you know, it's like Romans and that, asking you to like earnestly desire these things. And I would absolutely, I'd admit, I don't think I was earnestly desiring these things as much. I wasn't as aware of them. And I think also part of the church, I think for me is, you know, I think we do have those groups, like we have the young ones and then we have the older ones who, you know, I don't think we interact as much as we should. And, you know, just, you know, because we're older, we're going to start be going in and listening to sermons and that. But I think, you know, having that discussion, you know, so people interpret things differently and so we can speak about it to one another, you know, because people will have different views on it. But yeah, I think asking for like, you know, supernatural love is the most important thing. And I think over this time, we've seen both sides. We've seen people being greedy and we've seen people bringing out the best of humanity. And I think it's really important to emphasize that. And when we go back, not to like lose that and not to just be like, oh, well, there's no point in being nice to people now. I don't need to. Just keeping on that and showing little small acts of kindness to people.
Yeah, that's quite profound, Aidan. Thanks very much. That's great. Fergus, Gary, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, since Aidan like sort of stole my point, I'll go with like a backup point I had. So people opening themselves more up to God and having a more open relationship with Him and others in the church, so to feel more connected. I remember learning about it, and over the past like year or so, I've like probably started to understand prayer and opening myself up to God and how to speak to God. And obviously I can't judge, but it's whether everyone in the church does, and do they know how to. Obviously some teaching has changed, and it used to be a bit more traditional, but now we're understanding some of I'm not saying it wasn't always like as Aidan was talking about the supernatural powers and gifts, but just more opening ourselves up to them.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well, about the openness, because I think sometimes we can assume that we're open just because, well, we're Christians, so if God's going to speak, He's going to speak to us. If He's going to do something, He's going to do something. But actually, there's the point there that actually we need to be ready for it. Like almost like you can't just open an airport and expect planes to land. Like you have to create a landing strip for a plane to land, and it's a bit like that in some ways with God, that actually He will land on landing strips. He will land where the ground is being prepared, type thing. Before I talk any more metaphorically and then like do myself in circles, Gary, please give us some wisdom.
Yeah, just I think on a number of levels, like I said, I think it's helped us, as the young people have articulately said really well. There's so many levels to reflect on. I think one of the frustrations for me is that, you know, I think that hopefully as a society, and certainly in Britain, I hope that we'll never go back to the way that we were before with the NHS and taking the NHS for granted. And isn't it? It's just, for me, it's very sad. It's very sad that it's taken something like this for us to clap the NHS, to clap the carers, and think, well, hopefully that'll hopefully that's something that we should, you know, as a church, we need to be challenging the media and people like that to lay off them. But I think the other thing for the youth group is that, and I think we've managed to maintain it by doing what we're doing with Ignite Live, but never to take for granted being together. You know, Hebrews 10, let us not give up in meeting together, but encourage one another as much as we can. I think it's not taking for granted each other, and making sure that we, as some of the young people have said, really valuing each other, and as Nathaniel said, valuing life. You know, we don't know from day to day what's going to happen next, and it's time to, as we're taught in the scriptures, to live life with both eyes on eternity. You know, eternity is in our hearts, and I think it's something that we need to grasp more fully as well. They would be some of the things that we should reflect on.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Such a really good way to finish, I think. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I'm not just saying that for the sake of recording, but I genuinely have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no,
enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for having us, and glad to.
Oh, it's a pleasure. But
share with you.
Natanya, Fergus, Aidan, just to encourage you guys are speaking some really profound, wise things, and to be starting thinking about those things and kind of working them into your life at your age, you're creating really good foundations and roots for yourselves. And Gary, I don't want to sound patronising when I say this, but well done. Like, you've led these guys really well, and you've modelled something really well, because they've caught something from you and your team there at Broughty. So actually, genuinely, guys, you have lived that really corny, cliched Bible verse of 1 Timothy 4:12 or whatever it is, being an example by your love and your faithfulness, etc., etc. I can't remember it, but because you really have shown what it is to love and follow Jesus, and to love others as you love yourself in this time. So you've really encouraged me, guys. So thanks for joining me.